Man, bruh, I will never forget the journey up to Spider-Man No Way Home. The amount of leaks, the Twitter fights, your boy even got involved in a few. The hype was crazy. The straight up refusal by Sony and Marvel to not show Tobey or Andrew in any trailers was crazy, but it worked out so well. Let's talk about one of the greatest comic book films of all time, Spider-Man No Way Home. God damn, do I have a lot of things to say about this movie, but I don't want the video to be an hour long, because then I'm going to have to edit an hour long video, and that's too much. So, we're going to do our Tobey Maguire shit in Spider-Man 2. Whew. Clear focus on what I want. A video under 25 minutes. Let's go! Okay, y'all. The movie began with vibes similar to a Spider-Man the Animated Series. It picks up immediately after Far From Home. Peter's identity gets exposed. And of course, the Mysterio fuckery is the reason why. And he begins to panic. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He goes and scoops up MJ in order to get her home and protect her. Now, throughout this entire sequence, as he's going through different parts of New York, I was a little jealous of the people that got an opportunity to see it in 3D. I'm sure they got full value out of some of the scenes. And even the people who wasted their money to go see it in 4DX got full value. Minor detail in that scene, but you can see how Peter puts other people before himself, making a sacrifice play, right? In order to get MJ home so that she can be protected, my man hasn't even grasped how fucked up his life is. So when he's scrambling around New York, you get that sense of anxiety as a member of the audience that he has because of what's going on and how dire the situation is. That was a nice way to start the movie off. With the opening of the film out the way, let's get into 4 characters from the movie and the actors/actresses that played them and how it impacted the overall film. We have to begin with our lead of it all, Tom Holland as Peter Parker / MCU Spider-Man, right? This character has had an interesting evolution in the MCU ever since Spider-Man Homecoming, where that film, it was about him learning the value of believing in himself. That was the message throughout the entire movie. Himself. To where we get to Far From Home, and it's about understanding the importance of Spider-Man and also with great power. Then you get to No Way Home, where it's really about this character making decisions that are in the best interest of other people, even if it's a negative for you personally. I love the slow evolution we've gotten to a classic Spider-Man. Marvel Studios said years ago it was going to be a trilogy of films with him in high school. And it's a slow burn that really paid off beautifully. There's a scene in this movie where I had to clap for Tom Holland. The scene where Aunt May gets killed is some of the best reactionary acting I have ever seen in the comic book genre.
I want to kill him. I want to tear him apart. I can still hear her voice in my head.
Zendaya as Michelle Jones Watson was a nice evolution from where she was in Homecoming, Silent, Reserved, Far From Home, coming out of her shell a little bit. Her and Tom Holland were really fucking awkward together in that movie. Woo! They was awkward. And now we have No Way Home, where their real life chemistry has blended over into the role very nicely. And you see that she's involved with Spider-Man stuff physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's very welcoming. Similar to Gwen Stacy from the TASM franchise. But I was glad to see that she didn't take any cues from the Kristen Dunst MJ, because that bitch was emotionally abusive. She was backstabbing. The coochie was a roller coaster ride. Everybody got on.
So take, bitch.
Speaking of being emotional and demanding, we have Marissa Tomei, who plays Aunt May for another film in the MCU. This character over the years has not had enough screen time, but this was her best moments right here. We see that she impacts Peter positively by, we're going to help these people. We're going to send them back to the place where they came from. We're not going to let them die. That was something very impactful for Peter at that point of his life, because Toby and Andrew had Uncle Ben at that point of their lives, graduating high school, or at least around that time. Peter doesn't. So she set up as an Uncle Ben type figure. The problem with her death is that I felt more for Peter than I did her. And it shows that Marvel Studios really dropped the ball when it came to the homecoming final scene. If they would have actually carried that out and had it affect numerous films after, it really could have been something special for the character and impacted her death even more. But we never got that. I want to say they forgot. I want to give them an excuse.
Player to player, pimp to pimp.
Last member of the cast I want to talk about is Jamie Foxx as Max Dillon / Electro, right? This is a character that, looking back on the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I was freaked out by. This motherfucker in that movie was the weird kid at school.
Whoa, well, look who's here. Spidey. How was your morning? Aces, Max. Aces.
What was that?
That was very strange.
It was very weird.
Peculiar.
But you can clearly see this version is rebooted, right? Kevin Feige didn't really care for the Dr. Manhattan version of Electro, and he switched things around, right? In this version, he's a lot more confident. He's more stern. His goals and objectives are very easy to understand. Where in TASM 2, you're like, does he want to fuck Spider-Man? Does he want to hug Spider-Man? Does he want to watch SpongeBob with Spider-Man? You didn't know what the fuck was going on. He was super fucking weird. But here is so much better. And he's the launch pad to the villains kind of saying, hey, maybe this ain't so bad. And the genius thing about Jamie Foxx in this movie is that when he makes a decision that he wants to stay in this current world, that allows for us as an audience to view him as the primary threat. So it lets Norman off the hook. And then, of course, when he switches personas and goes crazy, it's like, oh my God, it's a big moment for us in the audience.
Some neat trick. That sense of yours. Norman?
Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
The hell? Goblin. No more darker half. Did you really think that I'd let that happen?
This film is paced incredibly well, right? It is so perfect because you go from the franticness of the first act, trying to figure everything out, to the questioning of Act 2. How are certain things evolving, right? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? To the third act of the multiverse hypeness. Everything was paced so beautifully, and it allowed for the emotion of different scenes to flow seamlessly. That was one of the best underrated aspects of this movie. Before I start spazzing out, okay? Before I start going crazy over the multiverse stuff that happens in the third act of the movie, let's get into some negatives, okay? Because this film is not perfect. Ned Leeds has an evolution in this movie that makes no fucking sense. No, he's not Hobgoblin. No, he's not Green Goblin. No, he's not secretly Harry Osborn. He's really Genki, but we ain't gonna talk about that. This motherfucker is magical. He has magic. What the fuck? They never ever alluded to that. Out of all the films this character has been in, they never dropped hints that he was magical. We never got one. So now that this motherfucker has a sling ring on and is opening portals, find Peter Parker. Find Peter Parker. It's some of the most dumbest shit possible. That made no fucking sense. It's so disrespectful to Stephen Strange, a character who had trouble, almost died on Mount Everest in the first Doctor Strange film, trying to open a sling portal. So now you have Ned doing it in his grandma's house? That shit's so stupid.
You're signing into third and you feel a juicy curd diarrhea. Diarrhea.
But let's talk about another thing that didn't work for me in this movie. The way that Doctor Strange is treated once Peter escapes and plans on saving the villains is so disrespectful. This is a character who went toe-to-toe with Thanos. This is a character who was the Sorcerer Supreme before he died and Wong became the Sorcerer Supreme. But this character is epic in every single way possible. The fact that Spider-Man, MCU Spider-Man, was able to tie him up and hang him over the Grand Canyon for hours is absolutely ridiculous. That's one of those plot convenient things that just made my back crawl. I was like, bruh, he got treated like that. Out of all the spells this man could have used to put Peter down, he gets hung up over the damn Grand Canyon in the mirror dimension? Come on, really? Really? They treated Doctor Strange like one of them henchmen from 101 Dalmatians.
You know what's cooler than magic? Math.
Now, let's also talk about the fight scenes, because these are some of the most brutal fight scenes we've ever had in the MCU. These are some clench your teeth, hold on to your seat type fight scenes. There's a lot of hand-to-hand combat that's on the extra side. And I mean that as a compliment, because once Norman goes crazy, you see a different side to MCU Spider-Man you haven't really seen, where his physical traits really shine. You really understand this motherfucker got superhuman strength. They're going through floors. Okay? He's doing Insomniac Spider-Man type special moves on Norman Osborn. That was so cool to see how much his combat has advanced over the years, right? Where we go to Captain America Civil War, he's keeping his distance. We go over to Infinity War, where it's a tag in and a tag out, not one to really go toe-to-toe with Thanos. And then Far From Home, where the character was using the environment a lot, right? Now we have him using his hands. And it was so cool to see that combat evolution from Spider-Man. The fight scenes in this shit are some of the best we've ever seen in a comic book genre. John Watts and the stunt team, the coordinators, y'all did y'all thing. Let's get into what y'all really want to hear me talk about, right?
At last.
Toby and Andrew are in this fucking movie. Oh. The prayers were answered. God heard me. I don't know if you're real, God, but you heard me. God damn. They are here. First off, they are not cheap cameos. We ain't dealing with no Crisis on Infinite Earths type situation. That's not us. It's not Batman, it's Suicide Squad. That's not us. They actually assist the story mentally, emotionally, physically. When these characters are on screen, each one of their scenes displayed a different aspect to their versions. And it was beautiful. Like, for example, the rooftop scene. That was meant to show to MCU Peter, hey, we know you don't know us, but we come in peace.
My Uncle Ben was killed. It was my fault. I lost Gwen. She was my MJ.
In that scene, they were able to mentally and emotionally build MCU Peter back together. So then we can get to the fun banter and the conversations we always envision these characters having. And the details of allowing for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man to be the mental lead of the three Spider-Man, right? Considering his experience, considering his age, Tobey's hairline, woo, was getting pulled like that train on Spider-Man 2. Looking a little spooky. Then you had Andrew Garfield that was playing the emotional Spider-Man, considering his trauma, right? Of Gwen dying, him failing to save her, and also him being the comedy Spider-Man, since that was one of the highlights of his Spidey. So genius. And then Tom Holland being the physical lead, since so many of the plot elements weighed on his shoulder, that made sense. That was so beautiful. So beautiful. I wanted to cry in a movie theater. Like, oh my God, I'm witnessing something that I've wanted for for damn near 10 years, and it's here. Wow. Crazy.
I want to tell you that I really don't know how to say this. I want you to know that you know. That's what we do.
I can't be the only damn person who was kind of glad that the suits he wore in this movie were not some super advanced suits, right? They weren't anything special that was out of the realm of normal Spider-Man suits, right? And look, I have nothing against the Stark suit, nothing against any of the other suits he wore in the MCU. They all have their place. But I was really bothered in Homecoming when he had a suit AI that really pissed me the fuck off. That really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm glad to see that the integrated suit isn't really anything super high tech. I was glad to see that the black and gold suit was really just his original suit turned inside out, right? That was nice to see that it wasn't a Doctor Strange spell suit. Because the internet would have broke if that was the case. I loved how the suits were just kind of cosmetics. They weren't anything extra. With that being said, I am a little confused because Marvel Studios does this a lot with time travel, where they try to explain it, and then halfway through my mind goes, and I start thinking about other shit. I have no idea how these villains who are cured are supposed to go back to the timeline and things don't change. I don't know if this creates a new timeline. I don't know if this alters the original timeline. I don't know. I was confused as shit towards the back end of this movie. You cured them. Does that change their lives? Does it change your life? Woo! Time travel ain't making no sense to me. Back to the Future did it a whole lot better because it was easy to understand. Maybe y'all can help me out in the comment section. I didn't understand that shit. But Spider-Man No Way Home. What does it get? What does it deserve? Spider-Man No Way Home gets a mother freaking It's your boy Marcus Digital. I done time jumped. I time traveled from the future. I am here. I'm magic now. We making great timing. We at like 19 minutes on the review. Probably 20 minutes, going on 21 minutes, because your boy likes to talk.
Trying to do better.
But we are here. And I want to give y'all a little bit more perspective on the multiverse stuff, right? And it wouldn't be a complete review if we didn't really dive into the villains, because they play such a big role as the menacing five. We're going to call them the menacing five. I like that name. Off the dome, I love that name. We knew coming in, older actors, William Dafoe, Alfred Molina, we're going to have to be de-aged. The effects in this movie, when it comes to de-aging them, is so flawless that if you didn't know that coming into the movie, you would have never thought it. Oh my God, do they look amazing in this movie. De-aged. What the flying fuck? Do they look good? They avoided some Hank Pym and Ant-Man, Michael Douglas situations where it looked a little wonky in the beginning of that movie, right? Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War looked a little wonky. And then obviously, Nick Fury having to move around a lot in Captain Marvel, it showed, you know. Sam Jackson, his prescription at Walgreens was ready that day. Chances are he had a lot of icy hot in his trailer because he was going to be pretty sore. You could tell he was older by the way he moved. But for Far From Home, what they did to adjust for that was give you quick shots in some of the action, right? When it came to those wide shots, right? The continuous motion, they gave you CGI models for Doc Ock, for Green Goblin, to kind of cover up for some of the, let me say it, older body abilities. And obviously, William Dafoe wasn't on the glider a lot, but when he was, it was CGI, and I have no problem with that. Because going to BTS on Spider-Man 2002, that glider training was really, really tough. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be damn near impossible. Impossible. The CGI is so great. There was one shot in this movie where I was like, what the fuck? When you first see Norman in the MCU, when he is in the alley, oh my God, it looked like a startup program at the Art Institute from 1999. I saw the way he looked and said, Sega, Genesis. Oh my God, did he look bad? Looking like an Instagram filter. God damn. The Goblin helmet looked incredibly fake. The dumpster looked bad. William Dafoe looked pasted in. That was the worst CGI moment from a really great film. Going all the way back to the beginning of this review, talking about Tom Holland's evolution in the Spider-Man role from movie to movie, we spoke about how in this one, it's about making decisions that are the best for other people that may not be to the benefit of yourself. And that really came to a head at the end of the movie, where we know it opens up with him wanting to edit the spell, right? But now he's like, hey, look, I see what all of that did. It brought a lot of fuckery to this world. Aunt May died because of my reluctance to want to keep the spell in its natural effect. So I'm going to choose for these people to forget about me. And he chooses everybody, the entire world. That was such a big moment because it showed that he learned from everything that he went through in the movie. And that decision really puts an exclamation point on him and MJ's relationship in this entire trilogy and how he had to make such a big decision. I think a bigger decision than any other Spider-Man actor has ever had to make in a film, right? This is going to alter his life completely. And he made that choice while still suiting up to be Spider-Man. Incredible, bruh. Incredible decision. He's a better man than me. Because I thought that he was going to go in that coffee shop and be like, hey, baby, it's me and you. Yo, Aunt May ain't around no more. We need to smash, smash. Yeah. Spider-Man, No Way Home. What does it get? What does it deserve? Spider-Man, No Way Home gets a mother freaking A-.
I love you guys.
Man, y'all, this movie was an experience. It was a fucking experience, bruh. Y'all should go to my Instagram. Go to my highlights and click on Spider-Man No Way Home. About in the middle of the highlight reel, when Toby and Andrew are shown, I lose my fucking mind. You would have thought that I was a 16-year-old girl watching a Justin Bieber concert. I was in that motherfucker yelling, the loudest person in that theater. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. FTB. Fade to black, nigga.
When I pull up, she gon' look though. Look at he mad, ain't look bro. She bad as hell, but can't cook though. It don't matter, but you still watching me while I did it for the look though. 100 feet worth of drip, don't drown this fly shit, that's the look though. And look though, I'm the wave, you can look though. I'm something different, I don't think you get it, but I still did it for the look though. Look though, yeah, I did it for the look though.